All right.
So, hi everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. As I mentioned already, you're guys from all over the world, from each country. Firstly, I want to say sorry for the voice because today it's Saturday, our weekend, and I'm trying to enjoy and explore the UK. And I'm so sorry for the technical issues. So the people who just joined us today, I want to mention that I'm Maya. I'm the leader of the Global Mentorship Program this year. And I'm so happy to have an opportunity to help you share my experience. And I want to present it my brilliant speakers from different countries. And guys, go ahead and introduce yourself. Just university, which country you are from, and introduce like small introduction.
Hi, I am Evangelina from Equatorial Guinea. I am studying strategy and project management at Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh, Scotland.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and my name is Bilguun. I'm from Mongolia, and currently I'm studying Masters in International Development at University of Edinburgh.
All right. Good day, everyone. My name is Nnamdi Tamuno Orji. I'm from Nigeria, and I'm studying advanced digital energy systems at Cranfield University in England. Yep.
Thank you so much. I just want to mention the people who are already attending for our last session, they know our format. The just people who are just joining us today, I wanted to say for them and clarify it. Our speakers will presenting firstly, guys, for you and share the experience on the interview stage, how they approaches, which kind of experience they had, because they are, as they mentioned, from different country, and every Chevener has different experience and journey because Chevening looking for individuals. So let's starting official meeting, and guys, you can start it the presentation. So first part will be the presentation, and then after you will be done, it will be like question answer session. Go ahead. Good luck.
Okay, thank you, Maya. So first part of the presentation is me, and first of all, big congratulations to all of you who have made into this part, because I feel like the most difficult part is the essay section, because that has the most amount of the applicants all over the world. And so just to take a moment and pat yourself on the back and congratulate yourself, because it's yeah, it's a very big step. So congratulations.
So you can start. Yeah, go ahead. Good luck.
Yes. For presentation, I have taken a little bit different approach. So I am going mainly focusing on preparing your answers for your interview question. And first of all, you would probably have seen like on the Chevening websites and all of the advices that people would tell you that you have to use a STAR approach. And I usually am not very like, yes, STAR approach helps you, but it's not exactly a STAR for me, because your answer is usually like in the 2 or 3 minutes. So you have very short amount of time, and if you spend so much time explaining the situation, problem, and task, it eats into your answer on what kind of actions you have taken, how many people you have talked a bit how many people you have been working with, like your action and the eventual result will it really chips onto your that kind of segment of your answer. So for me, it's not really an I would like an first minute, like an all of will be the start and task combined together, or one of them you can focus on. Then like an action and result, and that section is where you have to make them understand what you have exactly done and what was the result and what was the number and how it can future improve, like help with the development of your country or like of your business that you want to do. So that's the for me like a first thing to note. And also like an if possible, if you have advantage and people you know the previous Chevening in your country, I would really much advise you to know your panel. If they have 2 people, if they have 3 people, and usually who are there? Is it Chevening officer and someone from the embassy and previous Chevening, if it's 3 people panel, or is there someone, some kind of the third person can be also from the private sector or whatever. So that can also help you tailor your answers. And knowing also your panel is that the you have in an initial stage, you have to give like a very basic, like you have to introduce your country, and your answers have to start from this is the issue in my country. But in interview section, the people who are interviewing you already know what's happening in your country. They have pretty good idea like what's the the development barriers that you are facing. So that allows you to go directly into like a very deep diving of question, instead of starting from the very basic like an point of view. And for me, at least in my experience, my interview was exactly on the 30 minutes. It finished right on dot. So that what it means is that like in each answer, I only had the 2 or 3 minutes. It was a very short. So I would very much advise you, if you are trying to write your answers, try to stick to the like in 2 or 3 minutes, and afterwards you can also continue talking. But yeah, prepare for it, and like what's the core message of your answer? Finding the core message, the message is the very key. Otherwise, all others will be just embellishments. So this is what I have. This is the reason, like all those like a core message and the core keywords you have to really remember. You have to that will help you also very much. And also another thing is that you can also imagine your answers as a puzzle. Like we have 4 different subjects, the 4 different essays, and all of them have to, and also the interview will be basically based on like a structures around those 4 questions, but those have to fit together. If they are not talking with each other, if there's a linkage are lost, it will be very different for the panels to really understand you and see you as a whole person. So that's my advice. Like, is there a link, and is it always also meeting with each other? And be prepared for the unexpected answer. For me, I prepared like so much answers, but I really got an unexpected answer. So, and for answers for unexpected the questions, I would really much advise you to look at your resume, what you have done that's not included in your Chevening essay. Previously, you have not discussed that can also give you, I have done this 5 years ago, 3 years ago, and that can also help you write your answer. So look back at your resume and learn about the UK very much. there's so much videos, the photos, and everything. So especially if you want to travel to want to study in a specific city, it's like you are very much focused on London or Scotland, whichever the city you are focused on, it will very help to talk with them about the cities and why you have chosen that city, why is it attracting you, etc. And the most importantly, it's just being authentic. Like it's your answer. Do not. So there's no specific like golden formula. So it's okay to keep giving a very unexpected, very different answers. So just be yourself, be authentic, and as you can probably tell, I am not really good presenter, and I also very much am very nervous during the interview. So I have few very small points for you to remind to prepare for the interview days. So first thing is that knowing yourself. So and knowing that what makes you a panic. Sometimes some people very much panics when they look at the people in the eye. For me, it's like when I'm late, when it makes me a panic in meeting. At least for the first 5 minutes, like, and because I'm late, I'm very much panicked. So know that and take an action to mitigate those issues. For example, some people are very nervous to look at people in the eyes, so you can probably look at them in the shoulders or focus on the ears. So you're not really like looking at them in the eye, but like you are in the same area, you know. And you can take steps to mitigate. And also, if you can know like where the interview is taking, probably you have already received your emails. It will time to check and password, lock in your bags, and go through all the securities. For me, at least, it was like 5 or something minutes. So take those into your account if you. And during the interview, also like some people, when they're nervous, they like to move their hands or move their legs or like those kinds of small movements, body languages. They're just demonstrate. Try to minimize them. Take a notice of yourself, and at least in your body language, be relaxed and portray those confidence. So those are my advice for all the people who are preparing for this interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bilguun. Guys, you can see that Chevening really looking for the individuals, the person who are very honest and who presented themselves that how we love ourselves. So thank you so much for exciting experience that you share for us, and it will be motivation for a lot of people. So Evangelina, I think you're the next one, or Tamuno. Go ahead, guys. Good luck.
Yes. Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And just I want to start to, as Belgium did before, I want to congratulate you to be here in the interview phase. I think that if you are in this phase, it's because your essays are fantastic, right? And just the panelists, they want to know more about you, about your essay, and nobody can explain it better than you. That's why you have to go through this process, right? And please, the second slide. Okay, first of all, I would like to remind you that before the interview, you have to review your education documents, get your 2 recommendation letter, and them as soon as possible, because during your interview, they're going to ask you about all these documents, and it would be good to you to be ready for that, have all your information on the portal, and also like have like your university, your choose university, what, because you have to apply for 3 university and you have to select one of them can be your first university that you are looking first. And if you doesn't have like any response from that university, it doesn't matter. You can choose the second one or the third one. But during your interview, from my experience, they asked me about my selected university, and I told them my selected university, but at that time I didn't have my my conditional letter yet, and that doesn't matter. But you have to be aware that maybe they are going to ask you about that, but about your process, your university, um, your university acceptance process. And during your interview, please, guys, go prepare for that. For in which phase are you in your university? And then what happened when I received that letter from that I am selected to the interview phase. First of all, I went back to my essay, that what I wrote, to familiarize with my essays. And really I feel that the essay is Chevening really helped me. That essay really helped me, not only for the Chevening process. I feel also that helped me to know more about myself, about my future career, about my, like, in that process empowered me to be more confident and to have like a awareness that, oh, I have I have like something to give back to my community. And really that was and through that, before the Chevening, that was like something that I couldn't realize before. And it was difficult to me to find like that future career, to write that future career. And through the Chevening, like I become like, oh my God, if somebody hacks me, because I think also that through question, you can challenge yourself to respond. Are you really think about yourself, about your future career, about your leadership skills, and the leadership skill that you are you like in others and people that are around you, or people in other countries or around the world, right? And after the review of my essay, I went to research, right? Common Chevening questions, what kind of questions Chevening used to ask during the interview phase. And also I follow some mock interviews that help me to like, okay, I have my essays in one hand, I have the kind of question that Chevening panelists used to ask for the participant, and that allowed me to and through my preparation phase, to write down all the answers that that okay, are in line with my essays and are in line with me, right? And after that, but during that also, I know that Chevening is a process. For example, from my experience, I put all my energy in this in the Chevening, and I was like, oh my God. But I have to take care of my mental health also, and I have to take care of my people, my family that was around me. I am the second Chevening selected in my country, and nobody know a lot about Chevening in my country. And people were looking me about, Eva, you are crazy. What are you going to put all your effort in something that you never been before? You don't have like um we the first Chevening scholar from my country, for example, was selected in the 2021, and I am the second one, the 22nd. We didn't have like a more people to look like example of Chevening, right? And people were saying, Eva, you have to take care, because all my conversation was Chevening. People was looking at me like crazy, but I practice a lot of well-being and practice workout. I used to work out. I like to do meditation also and affirmation. And I did something funny also that I would like to share with you here. That is, when I received the interview later of Chevening, I took this picture of myself saying that I can keep calm. I've been selected to the Chevening, but really I was in the interview phase. This doesn't mean that I was selected yet, right? But because my positive affirmation, my beliefs of my energy was in this process, it's a tip that just I want to share with you guys that, okay, be positive and take care of your well-being and all the best for you, right? And during my practice, as I mentioned before, I wrote down. I'm coming from an Spanish speaker country. One of my challenges also was the English language, and I was like, I was scared about doing mock interviews as you doing here, guys. I watch a lot of Chevenite scholars, and really I didn't write any of them, but I follow their YouTube channels, and they help me a lot to be more confident and to write for example, what kind of question. And I follow also mock interviews, but I didn't do any mock interview with other scholars. I did it with myself, recording my voice, and then practice with my family, friends, and colleagues that were around me. And during the interview, I want to tell you that you have to take your ID, because they're going to ask you about your ID. Don't forget to take your ID with you. I don't know, my interview was online, but they asked me also about my ID. Be on time, because time is very important. Don't remind to be, if your interview is at 3 p.m., try to be there like 30 minutes before, and wear a formal clothes. And if your interview is going to be online also, remember to check your internet connection. For example, I during my interview was raining in my country, and really I faced a lot of challenges during my interview process. I have to connect my phone and my laptop, and that was really funny, but I did it. And don't forget to be honest, to show motivation, and to highlight your academic and professional achievement. And that is all, and good luck.
Thank you so much, Evangelina, to share for us your experience. Guys, listen our speakers and noted the important tips that they share, because like after you will be on the action interview, you will feel that, oh my god, they said this, and it should be very very useful. Because for my situation, I realized that tips which last year's scholar shared for me, it was very very useful, and it's make me more comfortable and confident. So I hope so that also our global mentorship program help you to improve your skills. So Tamuno, go ahead and please share your experience for us.
All right, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Yeah, my name is Nnamdi Tamuno Orji. I'm studying advanced digital energy systems. Don't be scared, it's not very long. It's just digital energy. And yes, I'm studying at Cranfield University. Here in England. If at any point you can't hear me, just let me know. If I'm too fast, just let me know. And right now, I just want to share with you about the performance, right? I see the interview as two stages. There's the preparation. You can prepare all you want, but if the performance doesn't match the preparation, then you're not going to be giving the best of you. So there's a lot about preparation, and I think most of the people who have been speaking to you have been telling you a lot of things you need to do to prepare for it. And yes, a few tips about performing as well. Evan just mentioned that you have to dress smartly. That's something on performing as well. So I'm just going to be talking about the performance of the interview and things you can do to actually stand out at your interview, right? So I'll start from the first point. Your interview actually starts at the door, right? Um, Starts at arriving early. You have to arrive early to your interview, especially if it's a physical interview. You don't want to be running in, you don't want to be that guy who's running in at the last minute and saying, oh, where's my interview room? There are so many checks. Okay, so for instance, where I did my interview, is the consulate of the British Council in Abuja, Nigeria. And the processes to even get into the interview venue could take you about 10 minutes because they have to screen you. You have to drop your bags if you came with any. Actually, the instruction that we got from the program officer in my country was don't come with a bag. If you can, don't even come with your phone. But if you come with your phone, you have to leave it at the gate. So there are serious security checks that you may have to go through. So make sure you give enough time, at least 45 minutes to your interview time. If you arrive, then just hang around because they may tell you you can't come into the building less than or greater than 15 minutes to the time of your interview. So make sure you're there like 30 minutes earlier, hang around. Then once it's 15 minutes to the time, you approach the gate, you get in, you find somewhere, you sit down, get settled. If there are other Cheveners with you around, you can strike up a conversation, ask them what they're about, get to know them. Just this would help you ease any tension that you are feeling, okay? Then the next thing I'm going to say is dress smartly. Dress like a big boy, dress like a big girl. Wear the nicest suit you have in your wardrobe. Wear the nicest blazers you have in your wardrobe. Look smart. Look like you're going to meet the president. Look like you're going to meet that role model you've always admired. Look as smart and as confident as you want to feel, okay? So for me, right, my dressing helps me increase confidence. When I dress really well and I'm looking really good, I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, right? Then I feel very, very confident about myself, right? So it helps me top up my confidence. So I'm going to give you that advice as well. Dress smart, dress good. It's a big deal. It's a chance of a lifetime. Chevening is about to invest a lot of money in your development. So show them that you are worth that investment. Okay, look good, look good. Yes. Next thing you have to be attentive to instructions. I talked about instructions about not bringing your phone in my center. It could be different from for a lot of people, those who have to do online. Make sure you read the email sent to you word for word. Read it line by line. Make sure you're listening to every single instruction. Okay. Please confirm you can still see the screen and you can hear me. Okay, so listen to every instruction, read every instruction, make sure you're on time. And when you get to your venue, avoid anything that is going to make you flustered. Let's say you took a cab and the driver of the cab is trying to, make you feel annoyed that morning. Please just put all the bad energy away. Anything that is coming your way to make you feel, uneasy, try your best to stay calm, try your best to stay composed. Yep. Next thing I'm going to talk about is your energy and your charm, right? You want to walk into that hall like you have just, won a lottery. You want to walk into that hall like you've got all the energy in the world to bring about the impact you're about to talk about. So there's something about you have to actually think, right? How do you want the panel to feel about you? What do you want them to say about you when you're not there? If, for instance, they take a 2-minute break and you're asked to watch them from a camera and hear what they're saying about you, what do you want them to be saying, right? So you want to think about this and then you want to ask yourself, what do I need to do to make them see this side of me, to make them feel this way about me. So there's a saying that people may not remember all you have said to them. People may not remember all you talk, but they would always remember how you made them feel. They'll always remember how you touched them. They always remember the impact you made on them at that time. Did you make them smile? Did you make them laugh? That's what's going to stick, okay? So you want to think about how you want to make them feel, and your energy, your charm, is what's going to bring that to pass for you. Use expressions. Use your expressions. Use your expressions as much as possible. Use your expressions. If you're dramatic, sometimes I like to be dramatic. Sometimes I like to be dramatic. If you're dramatic, make sure you use it to your advantage. For instance, okay, I'm talking about a project I want to do, right? I can do a lot of things. Let's say I want to tell them, oh, I'll use my energy example. I feel like the distribution lines in Nigeria are not so great. For instance, I have one here, I have one going from here to this place. I'm trying to draw to show them that it shows your know-how, right? You want to illustrate, you want to demonstrate, you want to show that what you're talking about is not something you just read in a book. It's something you have internalized. It's something you have experienced, is something you have practiced to the extent that you know it so well at your fingertips and you can demonstrate it to someone else. Now, a lot of people on your interview panel, you may have one or two people who are experts in your field. You may have people who know nothing about your field. Your ability to educate them on what you're bringing is something that is going to make them believe that whatever you're saying is true or false. Your level of knowledge is not by just what you're saying, but the passion you're using to transmit this information, convinces them that you know what you're saying. For instance, oh my God, I'm feeling too hot right now. I need to take off this jacket, right? Wow, I feel better, right? You take off your jacket and you say, oh, yes, I feel better. And you continue with what you're saying. Passion is something that builds up energy in you and makes you start to sweat, actually. So nobody's going to argue with you that the place is cool enough or it's too hot. At some point, I was talking in my interview and they told me, okay, you need to have a drink. You need to take some water. Mm. There you go. I have to take some water and then continue what I'm saying. It's a break in transmission, but if you know how well you have prepared, if you know you have what you want to say at your fingertips, these breaks don't make you lose your flow. They actually make you recalibrate, and find back where you were coming from, give you 1 or 2 minutes to think. These are strategies to think about what you want to say, strategies to think about what you're doing that, okay, is there something I'm missing? Is there something I really want to say that I'm not saying? These are strategies to do it. And these are strategies that will leave memorable impacts in the mind of your panelists. It will show that you're composed. It will show that you're not panicking. It will show that you know your stuff, right? Next is to stay in control. Say, for instance, you're asked the question, someone talked about unexpected questions. Was that you, Evan, or Bilguun? Yeah, Bilguun talked about unexpected questions. The best way to go about it is pause 2 to 3 seconds once they've asked it, or ask them, can you rephrase the question so I can understand you better? They ask it again, and then you pause. Okay, so to answer this question, I'll look at it from this perspective. I'll look at it from that perspective. Give yourself those 2 to 3 seconds and think fast. How do you want to start, right? These things don't come by magic. You have to practice. So there's preparation and there's performance. Remember, I did not just mention you have to perform all this magic in front of them. If you don't prepare for it, then it may not really work. You have to practice these things. You have to practice so many questions. Sorry. When you're fluent with what you're saying, any question that comes to you, you would find a way to start, and then the things start to flow. The ideas start to flow. The terminologies you need to use start to flow, okay? And then stay composed. Try not to, at any point in time, get so panicked or so nervous that you begin to stammer. If you find yourself in that position, tell them, please, I need to take a break. take a cup of water or something. It's very fine. I mean, once you walk into the interview room, they would want to settle you down, ask you if you want to take some water, if you want to have sweets, if you want to have tea. They want you to be as settled as possible, so you give your best. This is survival of the fittest. They are looking for the best of the best. So they want everybody to bring their A game so that they will have a level playing field to judge everybody. So have this in mind and tell yourself that I'm ready to give my best. So whatever is going to stand in my way, I can, ask questions. These are human beings, all right? So just get that nervousness out of you. Maintain eye contact. Ensure you're looking right into their eyes, okay? No matter how many they are. Some people are going to frown. Some people are going to throughout the interview. So people are going to be all smiles like Maya, they'll be all smiles like Maya throughout the day, and you would see this kind of people. But trust me, they are all very excited about talking to you. They are only keeping the straight face, the poker face, to make sure that you're not feeling like everybody is happy with you. There was a particular guy in my interview panel that was just his job. His job was to keep a straight face. And that was going to put me off for a while, but I had to remember that he wasn't this way when I got in. So he just had to do that, because on every panel interview there has to be somebody who is keeping that poker face to make you remember that not everybody is happy with you on that panel, right? So just know that it's just a game face and there's nothing wrong. You've not said anything to offend them. It's just their face. All right, so lastly, you need to find a way. You remember we're talking about standing out. You need to find a way to close with a bang. Now, most times when you listen to top speakers, orators, world leaders giving speeches, world speeches at the UN, at the WHO, they either start with a quote or they end with a quote. Martin Luther is known today for his quotes. He's known today for his very good sayings, right? Even in your essays, I'm sure so many of you actually started your essays with a quotation, with a motto, something that sounds really, really strategic and makes people to think and say, there's something there. It's deep, right? You need to think of something you want to close your interview with. Now, I'm just going to give you mine, right? Towards the end of my interview, I said to them, remember, interview responses or selections come sometime in June. The timeline says early June, and my birthday is on the 7th of June. So I told them my birthday is on the 7th of June, and by then I want to be a Chevening scholar. And that was it. I told them by my next birthday, I want to be a Chevening scholar. This didn't come before my birthday, but in the same month of June, this came, and I could say it was achieved, right? But that was something I said to make them remember that this boy needs a birthday gift from Chevening, and come on, we have to give it to him, right? So look for something interesting, look for something nice, look for something that would stick to close your interview with, to help them remember that you were there that day, and they can reference something when they're talking about you and say, oh, what of this guy who said this? What of this guy who did this? That's the whole essence of what I wanted to share with you guys today. So think about it. You can watch about great interviews on YouTube, find some ways to make your interview spicy, but trust me, you have to practice. You have to talk to yourself in the mirror. You have to call friends and talk to them. It's great that Maya is setting this up. You can reach out to anyone and say, oh, I want to do a mock interview. I just want you to listen to me. Let's talk. And you have this interview, you have to practice, record yourself, very important. I still have video recordings of myself trying to do my interview, the things I wanted to say, even if it wasn't as long. Oh, my interview lasted an hour, 30 minutes. There's no way I was going to record for that long, right? But 2 minutes, 3 minutes recordings, you can now imagine how they metamorphose into an hour, 30 minutes of talking. So you can't really beat that. You have to record, you have to practice, you have to hear yourself, know when to amplify your voice. I wasn't always this loud, right? It's with practice that I've begun to notice that when I talk, when I have to talk to people virtually, when I have to talk to people in a crowd, then I have to amplify my voice. Sometimes if I'm talking to you, you may not hear me. But when I talk to people in a crowd, then I have to amplify my voice. This comes with practice. This comes with listening to yourself and knowing how you sound on different platforms. So guys, that should be it. I would say good luck and make sure you stand out.
Did you hear me, guys? Yes?
Yes.
I hope that you, yeah, okay. So
Yes.
thank you so much. Thank you. I'm like so excited. Thank you for your inspiration speech. Oh my God, guys, I envy you. I wish that I would be in 1 minute like the new applicants after Tamuno, your motivation speech. It's very, very useful tips. Thank you so much. So your favorite part, guys, it's the question time. Go ahead, raise your hands and ask the question with panel. I can see yes, any, okay. I think I raised my hand, so go ahead. Tinatin, please go ahead. We should also check, guys, the chat language. I don't know if I pronounce your name correctly, but please go ahead and ask us question directly. Unmute yourself because we did not hear you.
Hello,
And
I don't know
also,
if you can
if your
hear me.
interview, right now we hear, but if your interview is online, please firstly make sure that you unmute yourself. So go ahead right now and ask us question.
This is Lengwe. I don't know if you can get me. Can I proceed, or I have to follow maybe the order in terms of how the hands were raised?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Just a quick question. Mostly, I think through practice and what I've read so far in terms of the interview, you are asked at the end of the interview to ask the panel a question. So I wanted to just get an experience from you guys who've been through this experience. What kind of questions you've had to ask the panel after the interview? Thank you.
Guys, you can share the experience. It does not matter which one of you answer them back. Go ahead. Tamuno, maybe you or Evangelina or Bilguun, like some of you can answer this question.
All right, guys. So you were talking about questions to ask the interview panel, right? Okay, so I'm
Yes,
I'm just going to give you an example of my question. So for context, there are about 43 Nigerians that were chosen for Chevening, and even before that, I went to look at every other some past years of Chevening scholars and looked at the work of the UK in Nigeria, what the British government has been doing in Nigeria. And I noticed the trend. I'm in energy, I'm studying energy, and I'm the only person studying energy from Nigeria under Chevening. So a question I put to them was, based on my research, based on the things I've looked at about the UK in Nigeria, Chevening in Nigeria, I haven't seen Chevening supporting a lot of energy students to go study in the UK. And my question was, why is this so? Being that in Nigeria, oil and gas is our major source of revenue, is the energy of Nigeria powering a lot of, and we sell our oil and gas to several parts of the world. So Chevening, why haven't you been sponsoring a lot of energy students? And they had to think about it, and then they said, wow, we don't know. We're not very sure why this is so. But these days, nowadays, we're beginning to look into it. We're beginning to consider it a lot more, and you would see an improvement. So your questions would be fueled by research. Your questions will be fueled by making findings. Your questions will be fueled by looking deep into what um, the UK does in your country, that's a good way. That's a very good way to find a good question to ask them. You need to show them that you are very much interested in the development efforts of the UK in your country. So if you can look into what they've been doing, find a question and ask them. And in asking your question is another way to show them that you have read something really nice. Okay. So you tell them, I read about this in 2016, the UK did this, the UK did that, and brought out this. So I want to ask, what happened to this project? Right? So I asked them a question like that as well, that I read about a certain project. I don't know where that project got to. I don't know whether it had been completed. So these are the kind of things you want to ask them. Most people go easy and just ask them, oh, how diverse is the food in the UK, or different kinds of questions, but you want to ask an intelligent question. Remember, it's still part of your interview. You still want to show some level of your intelligence and ingenuity, or you can just, if you feel you've had a very good a very good interview already and you want to go light, you want to go, you could just find something on the side of humor to ask. But it's always important you look for an intelligent question, and like I said, it has to come from very good research. You need to have read a lot. You could also ask a question. I asked a question about the Russian-Ukraine crisis, and I was like, how would you expect Chevening, right, to respond to the Russia-Ukraine crisis? How would you expect us to act as Chevening in this time of war, in this time of crisis, so to say, knowing that there are other Chevenings from Russia and from Ukraine? What position would you want Chevening to take in this whole thing? How do you want our engagements to our fellow Chevenings in Ukraine and Russia to be, and all that? And they had to actually think about it to answer. So you have to find this really interesting and important questions to ask.
Thank you so much. It's very inspiring what you said and mentioned. And guys, really remember that it's affected you ask question or not. So our next person in my list is Abdullah. Go ahead, please, and ask us question.
Thank you. Thank you for the initiative and thank you for this support. I really appreciate this. So,
We don't hear your question. You just wanted to say thank you. That was all, as I understand, because you maybe you muted yourself. I don't know. Okay.
now it's okay? Is it working?
Yeah. Go ahead, because we lost your voice. Go ahead
So,
now.
for example, I have an unconditional letter from one of the universities, so it's public policy. So, will they have the question? Will be any question regarding, for example, public policy, or they want to know about our own my knowledge, that how I know about public policy? That's one question. The other question will be, for example, I have different certificates from my work, from my university, from my background. When I go for an interview, for a in-person interview, shall I bring this document with myself? For example, I have pictures. I have with very important people in my country in the international level, official meetings. This will help me. Shall I bring a copy of all my document with myself? Thank you.
Guys, go ahead.
So for me, when I went into the interview, I already had the conditional offer by that time, and I also was the condition was that I meet the English language test, and I already booked the IELTS test date. So it was 3 days later. So in the interview, when they asked me about, so what are your choices, talk us through your the programs, I said, those are my programs. I already have one conditional offer. This is, I already printed it and it was in, I brought it into the meeting and on the desk, this is my conditional offer. And the only, the condition they had put is that language test, and I already taken an action to meet these requirements, and it's in 3 days later. And I also had previously gotten the IELTS score, very high score, so I'm not really worried about it. Like, yeah, I think that also, I guess, showed that I'm taking a very active role to make this happen. You know, to really go to the wind tuning and go to the university in the UK. So yeah, I did bring my offer, but any other documents I didn't. So I'm not really sure how it will be, but you can probably upload it in the portal, right? For especially your diplomas, you should definitely upload it by the deadline.
Yeah, I think you had also one more question. Could you please repeat if it's not covered? And thank you so much, Bilguun, for your answer.
Thank you for the answer. So my second question was about the subject which I already selected, and I have an unconditional offer for that. For example, it's public policy. Do they will ask like deep question regarding the public policy? Do they want to know my knowledge about public policy or whatever subject which we selected, which we in our list? I mean, shall we be prepared also for this or not?
Yeah, I do believe you have to prepare it for why you have chosen a public policy and why it is linked to your previous work, your future career trajectory, and what you are learning, and comebacks after the training, what you will be doing. So yeah, you do need to be, I think, at least to a certain extent, be prepared to answer why you have chosen this course and how it will be linking to your future works and etc. But like
I love it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just want to add that, like, you are a future leader who are going to study this particular course. You definitely need some background or knowledge that you are going to study. They are not asked, but it's also very personal. They ask following question regarding your speech, okay? So if you mention something blur, or they will have after your speech some question, like professional question, they definitely ask you. We don't know and we don't say, but we can share our experience. So like personally, I had not professional question. They just asked me why I'm change the profession and why I want to continue to studying inclusive education. So, Willis, you are the next. Go ahead and please directly ask us question, because we have very limited time and we want to cover all the questions. Unmute yourself because we can't hear you.
Okay, thank you and hello to you all. My question is, how do you go about it when you failed to upload the referees before the deadline due to unavoidable circumstances? I do work in the public security sector, and by the time I received the invite to the interview, I was on an assignment in a remote area carrying out security operation involving disarmament of people with illegal arms.
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
My question is, how do you go about it when you failed to upload the referees before the deadline due to unavoidable circumstances?
Really, I didn't get your question, but I think that you're saying something about them, or you have to the upload process, right? Where you have to share your documents in the portal, right? I
Yes,
think
yes.
that we have like deadline for each of document that we have to submit on the portal, and you have to follow that deadline phases. And you have to be aware for that because you can miss a lot of things if you don't submit it on time.
Okay, but after that, what can I do about it? Or I'll just explain myself in the interview.
No, they are going to see that all that document is during your interview. Your panel is going to have access to that document during your interview. They will have all your, like for example, your essays, all the document that you have already submitted on the portal. They're going to have it there. And another thing that I want to I want to add to the person that Belgium responded their question about going with their document in the embassy. Most of the embassies, for example, in my country, they used to take you. You are not allowed to, if you are like visitor, you are not allowed to go inside the embassy with you, even with your bag, even with nothing, And maybe you can research about your embassies and permission. What do you need to, or maybe also Chevening has like their another maybe because you're a Chevening, they can allow you to go there with your document, but most of the embassy doesn't allow you to go there with the embassy. That's why also I think that it's very important to you to submit that document on the portal. And if during your interview they ask you about it, you can say it's on the portal. You have to be like a confidence, all this information you already have it, and you have to, if for example they ask you about it, you just say I already submitted on the portal, and they will know that you did it, right? Sometimes like they are like a trick questions, just because they want to know that if you are the real person that submitted that document, and you are the real person that it's applying for the Chevening.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks. I appreciate it.
I also want to add people who just mistakenly uploaded the reference incorrectly. Please, guys, print it and have with you when you are going on interview. But yeah, double check if the embassy are allowed to bring you the documents. So for next one, and I also want to mention, unfortunately, I lost your raising hands. I just see right now only 6 of you. So if there is someone who had raising hand before, please just trying to raising again. And next one in my list is Dionisio.
Yes,
Please
that's
go
me. Thank
ahead.
you. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hey, thank you guys so much for preparing such a nice panel. And my question is specifically for Mr. Nnamdi Tamuno. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. He mentioned about searching about the specific areas and the number of guys that had received Chevening scholarship from his country, Nigeria. So I'm curious about how he went on to find out about that information. Specifically, I'm from the Dominican Republic, and it's a little bit hard for me to know like the specific number of previous scholars or their fields, but that's something I'm very interested in knowing. So I want to know how he went about to figure out that information to ask his questions to the panel. And also, previously another panel mentioned about unusual questions. I want to know if what is an example of an unusual question that the panel may ask. So those two questions, and I'll be really grateful if you can answer. Thank you.
All right. Yep, nice question. So, when you need to get this information, yes, you may not find it somewhere all listed out, but here's what you can do. The Chevening has a Twitter page, has I think a LinkedIn page as well, and they post regularly. Every cohort they post about people, and when you go to those pages, you would see people, you would see the scholars all over making comments, saying congratulations to themselves. Pick one or two of them, right? Go ahead, ask them questions, get familiar, get friendly, then you can start to ask them questions about, oh, what about your cohort? How many people were there? What courses were the majority? How many ladies were taken? How many guys were taken? As much as you don't find on the social media pages, you can ask people who have gone before you. And in Nigeria, there are people who actually there's a Chevening alumni community. There's a Chevening alumni community in Nigeria, and getting in touch with them revealed a lot of information. I think they have a database of all past Cheveners. I'm not very sure, but they were able to give information that was useful for this journey. So you actually have to ask a lot of questions. You have to reach out to people, and that's how you get this information. Yeah.
Very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I think you also had second question regarding the
Yes.
question.
Yeah. So for unexpected question, they asked me about what would be my advice for people who want to work in the NGO sector. So it just threw me off, like, and I was expecting them start with like my leadership or like a networking question, but it was my very first question, and answer I have given was probably what they have not really expected. For me, like right after the graduating, I couldn't get into the job at UN or like our big INGOs. So I worked in a mining company and built the skills, working with the rural community and built the skills I needed. Then after I gathered quite the skill, I moved on to the NGO. So I told them, like, do not be afraid of if you cannot get into the job you have gone and you applied for, and also be open to diverge a little bit, like go into a mining, but like for me it was going into the mining, but getting the experience, learning the working with the communities, then going back into my original the goal trajectory. That was how I answered my question.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, guys. I also want to add that I will add very soon our second session, and on this topic, one of the speakers, Zung, talking about this, the umbrella question. So I advise for you to going and check this session, because it will be very useful, and you will maybe practice an unexpected question also. So next person is Abenaike. I don't know how to pronounce your name, so sorry if it's not correct. Go ahead. Unmute yourself, please. We don't hear you. Okay, let's move on the next person.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, right now, go ahead, please.
Sorry, there was a connection issue. So actually, I sat the Chevening interview last year, and I got this question where it was an unusual question where they asked me how my future career goals align with the UK government. And I got a bit stuck with that question because I hadn't planned out how my future career goals would align. Can I just get some advice in case a similar question is asked this year on how one could answer a question like that?
So as you know, this is like question answer session. Maybe we can discuss after the process finish, because our speaker are waiting for the answers. Okay. So Diane, Judah, please go ahead.
All right. Can you hear me? I am Diang Jude. I don't know if you can get me.
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
All right. I have a question. I want to thank you for the work you're doing, the panelists. It's giving some of us more and more hope, especially as our interview date approaches. I want to find out the university, one of the universities, that's my second choice, that I've actually received a conditional offer from. That's Birkbeck University of London. It's an evening university. That means classes are in the evening. I just want to find out if this is not a problem, if it's not going to affect me in any way. Anyway, I have also found out that they're a Chevening partner. So I just want to find out if it's not going to affect me in any way.
Maya, can I say something?
Yes, sure.
Oh yeah. So there's actually a current Chevener who is attending Birkbeck University, and yeah, I spoke about it with her a few days ago, and she told me it's no issue. So yeah, I think Jude, your question is quite valid, but you don't have anything to worry about.
Okay, thank you very much. I am grateful.
Thank you so much, Diana, that you are here with us also, and for your time that you are still helping for new applicants. And Muhammad, go ahead, please.
I have two questions. My first question is, I have got an unconditional offer letter from a university that is my first priority, but that is not in ranking list at top. It is somewhere in bottom. So that would cost effect over by selection process. Ranking could be issue.
Can I clarify it? So you have unconditional letter from one of the university, which is not in your list.
It is in my list. Rather, it is the first priority.
What? Sorry, can you repeat the last word because I didn't catch it?
I got an unconditional letter from the university that is my first priority. But when I check the ranking of the university, it is not somewhere on top. It is in bottom side. So could it cause any effect upon my selection process? So ranking is no issue.
No, no, of course no. You are safe. No worries.
My second question
It's
is,
your choice. Okay, go ahead. And guys, you are prepared to answer this question.
My second question is, I have talked various ex-Chevener alumni. One sector say that you can you can answer any question beyond your essays. What you have written in your essays, you may go beyond it, and you should go beyond it because what you have written is already into their knowledge. So you should go beyond your essays. But other sector is saying that no, you should confine yourself within your already given answers that you have written in your essays, because they want to dig out what you have mentioned in your essays, that how did you do it. So which approach you think is appropriate one?
Yes, sorry. Let me answer from my experience. I think that, as I mentioned during my presentation, they want to make sure that you are the one who wrote that essays, right? And they're going to make you, they are going to ask you about the things that you have already, you wrote in your essays. But yes, they can also ask you things that are not in your essay. You have to be aware about that, you know? But most of the things are going to be aligned with your essays, because they want someone can write you your essays, but during the interview they want to make sure that you are the person. If you are in the interview phase, is because your essays are fantastic, is fantastic, you know, and they want to make sure that that essays belong to you, you know, and you have to make sure to go to your essays and to see what have you written, and make sure that you are in line during your interview with your the response in your essays. But doesn't matter if you have you can go beyond. I mean that during your response, you can also like you can add another things that is not in your essay. I think that you can do it, but please be aware on focus on your essays response, and the panelists are looking for that.
Thank you so very much. It was a great answer.
Hello.
So,
Maya, maybe I
Tamuno,
should
do you
just
want to
add
add
something.
something?
Yep. So yeah, just like Evan said, very, very important that anything you feel like you want to add, I would advise make sure you are prepared for it so that you don't break your flow, right? Because if you're not consistent in your presentation of what you're trying to depict to them, then you may just lose them. So if, for instance, you're trying to talk about your some leadership experience or some networking experience, you know, for your essays, you use the particular approach, probably the STAR approach, to, you know, compose it and make sense, make it technical, make it sound like what Chevening likes to hear. So if you're giving another instance or another story outside that, make sure it has also been composed with the same approach, or you can compose it using the same approach so that there's a flow, and make sure it's in connection with every other thing you're trying to say. Why some people advise you to always stick with what you have in your essays is because that is a proven document. That is something you can beat your chest and say that this is something that the panel is happy with, right? So sticking with it is a safe space, and they are not going to penalize you for it. If they now ask you, okay, tell us something outside what's in your essays, then that's a different case. So yes, you can always prepare for extra experiences you want to share. You can always prepare for extra instances you want to give, like I did. I definitely did prepare for that. I couldn't write everything in my essays, so there were some things I had to chuck out of my essays. But when going for the interview, I prepared to talk about them, and I did. I definitely did. So you can also do that and be ready to talk about them. If you're ready to talk about it and you have them on the palm on the tips of your fingers, go for it. Go for it by all means. About your universities, it doesn't matter. What matters is, one, if it's a Chevening partner university, and two, if it's your first choice, right? If it's not even a partner university for Chevening and you have a strong case as to why that is the university you really want to go to, then when you're talking to your interview panel, they will ask you why. Why can't you find this course in one of the Chevening partner universities? If you make a strong case to them as why that university and that course is the best for you and for your career plan, then they would give it to you. It's not an issue whether it's ranked number one or whether it's ranked number 250 in the UK. You just have to make your case as to why that course is important. And that's why that studying in the UK essay is there. They would also still ask you about it again and again. And I'm speaking from someone's experience. I know they didn't go to a partner university, but they were able to make their case about their course and their university, and yes, they got the scholarship. So don't worry about that, okay?
Thank you so much. So we are out of the time, so I will just choose two random people. Of course, I will take the gender. I will make the gender balance. So David and Maria. So David, go ahead, and Maria, let's prepare.
Thank you very much. Sorry. I would love Mr. This scholar from Nigeria who just spoke. I would love him to answer my question. I'm someone that naturally has interview phobia. Uh, Anything interview, even no matter how prepared I am or I have all the information I need, I don't have this phobia when facing the interview. I've been SOG president, and I've faced many interviews level. But once it is interview, can you hear me, please? Hello.
Oh, yeah,
Hello.
we hear you.
David, I can hear
Hello.
you.
Okay, thank you very much. So anytime anything that involves interview, I always have this extreme phobia that makes me nervous and makes me a stutterer, a stammerer once I face the panelists. So how can I overcome it? How do I face my fear? How can I become relaxed and, have the confidence in replying them? No matter how prepared I am, I do have this phobia when I'm facing interview. How can I overcome that? Thank you.
Tamuno, before you answer, can
Yeah.
I add something? Tamuno already talking about this. He already like make the kind of sign and activities what you have to done. Maybe you will just go back and watch the record. And give us the chance for other person to answer about this. Okay. I will add, guys, this session very soon online, and you can watch it. Thank you so much. And Otis, so get prepared, Maria, go ahead.
Thank you so much for this session. I would like to know if you have any advice for us to answer the question about, tell us about a time you face a setback as a leader. Thank you.
Guys, you can answer or share your experience, or maybe more tips, I think, because it's very personal question and we don't know your experience to advise for you something very like
Yeah,
specific. Maybe we can share your like tips that we use for it.
I think for me, it's like it's very personal question. It varies from person to person, so it will be a very different to answer. But also like in when you are setting back setback as a leader, and one thing that the leaders do is that they take a note, take a step back and observe and take a note and try to do it better. Maybe it's like that kind of reflection on your side. You have made a mistake. You may have been able to revise it at the time, or may not have been able to correct it at the time. But taking that reflection and trying to do better next time is also another, I guess, character of the good leader. I would say so. I don't know. It's very difficult to answer.
Yeah, I also want to add, guys, we are leaders and you are future leaders. So just make sure that your experience, which you will share, should have positive impact as leader. That you face failed, because it's very normal. It's like human being, and we are experience and face these challenges in our life and our work. But you're talking about yourself as a leader, so presented yourself as like person who learned something after you had this kind of challenges or difficulties, and presented them like show them positive impact after these challenges. Okay, so and last person, Otis, go ahead.
I'm Otis S. Bonda
Please,
from
yeah,
Liberia.
okay.
Am I okay?
Sorry. Yeah, right now we hear you, but you have to start your question from the beginning because it was.
Okay. So it was more like a commendation to the panelists for taking the time to run us through this whole process. So my question has to do with during the interview time. There are times when people are talking, you go like you kind of following the conversation or the question. Is it something good to do? Like you responding like, That's one. And the second one, is it also good to be illustrious when you are speaking? Like to say you want to move your hands around. Is it something you recommend to do, or we should let go of it? Thank you so much.
Okay, so I would recommend you read your room. Very important you read the room, know the kind of interviewers, know the energy they have started out with, and work on the same energy. Like I said, it's always important that you control the energy you're having in the room, right? So you come into the room and you greet everyone. You want to say, "Oh, nice meeting you all. It's been a long wait for this day, and I'm glad I'm finally here." They're definitely going to smile, right? They smile back at you and they know you're willing to interact, you're willing to engage. So you want to control that energy by putting that hand forward. But trust me, the Chevening interviewers are always nice. They are always going to want to make you relax, first of all. So you want to read the room, you want to know the kind of energy they are at, but make sure that your energy is on a high. And once they feel it, they're going to raise theirs as well. So you have to also do everything with moderation. Trust me, you don't want to all be all over the place. Do everything with moderation. Know when to do it. And like I said, you don't just do it because you want to do it. Do it because there's a reason to do it, because you're talking about something that requires you to do it, right? So it's all in the planning. You're planning to say something that is really deep. You're planning to say something that needs you to demonstrate, then you demonstrate. You're planning to say something that needs you to gesticulate, then you gesticulate. Okay, so that's just about it. Ensure you're reading the room. Ensure you planned how you want your speech to go. We would always continue to say this: practice, record yourself, practice. This is the only way you know how well your performance should go. I'm sure you watch concerts. I'm sure you watch people practice perform on stage. That's a whole lot of practice. They don't just come out and perform on stage. Davido, Wizkid, the big musicians we know in Africa, they spend a lot of time practicing those performances backstage. Okay, so you don't want to also come out on your big stage and that's the first time you're trying to show your skills or show your theatrics. Yep.
Thank you. Want to add something, Bilguun?
Yeah, I
Okay, go ahead.
No, I don't have anything to add.
Yes, I would like to add something.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay, and just adding what he just said, from my experience, really practicing give me really the Eva that was before the preparation of Chevening was not the same Eva during the interview. I was full of myself. I don't know how. And really, in like 5 minutes before my interview started, I was still like nervous that, oh my God, what is going to happen? My network also was raining outside, and all that was, oh my God. But during the interview, when the interview started, really, I was full of myself. I gained confidence that I didn't realize before. And the practice that I did before really filled me with all the skill, all the confidence that I was needed to my interview.
Evangelina, absolutely. I want to just add that, guys, I was the part of the mentorship program like you are doing right now. And it's the possibility to, most of you have a group in the same field from the different country. So you can go ahead and practice, do your mock-up interview. No one is a perfect. To be honest, when I had my first mock-up interview, I was like, oh my God, I'm not ready. What can I say? And after the first mock-up, I was like, okay, but I recorded this video. I was watching again and I note all the weakness that I had. I was like, okay, right now in this answer, I skipped from the start approach action. What I did for that? Okay, so after that, I recorded again the answer and was like, okay, Maya, calm down. You need to structure. You're a future leader. You are on the interview stage. It's mean that from my country last year was about 600 applicants, so they chose only 21 applicants for the interview stage. So I push myself, give the motivation like, okay, you are on the right side and you just need to be prepared because your story are magic. You're right. So what I did, just attending all the session that guys made for us, and I noted like the tips and experience that scholars share for me. And when I listened my voice, I was like, oh my God, I skipped something they mentioned during the session. So get prepared. You have chance, guys, and like opportunity to be yourself, because only the practice can give you the chance to be yourself, be honest. And it's not exam, interview is not exam. You have to share your story, and if you are not confident, if you are not feel comfortable to talking about that, it's unfortunately they can see that you are nervous, or maybe that this essay is not related about you. So go ahead, you have still time, practice, 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 and read your essay as much as you can. So thank you so much who attending this session today. Thank you so much, guys, to share for us your experience and impressed us. And guys, tomorrow is our last session that I already see 6 raising hand. You can join us tomorrow, and tomorrow we will answer all the questions which will have you. So good night, good evening, good afternoon.
Maya, can they
Yes.
also share their questions on the Facebook group? Is it possible?
Sorry?
Can they also share their questions on the Facebook group?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, so share your
Yeah,
questions there and
so
we'll try to
yeah,
reach
I
out
want
as
to
much
add,
as
okay,
possible.
yeah, I want to use the chance and say with Tamuno one more time, thank you, because he is also volunteering for doing the mock-up interview, some of you. But guys, remember, it's all about volunteering. So we can do as much as we can. And of course, you're like 237%, and we can't make the mock-up interview for everyone, but we will try our best, and we promise that manage to make the slots for you very, very soon. Thank you so much.